Hey everyone. So today I really felt a calling to explore what it means to kind of be on this healing limbic system journey. And I've approached this a few times from different directions, and I wanted to almost do like a day in the life example to explore a little bit about my view of what integrative and holistic and compassionate limbic system healing looks like. So what I get a lot of conversation around in our community is we've taken on a very Western perspective of what health and healing looks like versus a more Eastern or holistic perspective. And I think sometimes that comes with a cold and clinical approach, or with kind of a gimmicky all or nothing money back healing guarantee. And it neglects the reality of stating that we are all on a healing journey together, and it's a long road and it has twists and turns and ups and downs, and that's life. That is literally life. It's come up so many times this week, just in different conversations, that basic tenet of Buddhism, right? That the first tenet is that life is suffering. There is suffering inherent in life. And when we become too attached to things and outcomes, that is actually where suffering comes from. And so this idea of non-attachment and non-judgment and committing to a path of compassion and love is the only real way to find healing. And what I think is so good about that kind of message in our community is, are any of us ever truly healed? Is there a destination or is it a journey? And I've been walking this healing journey myself for a really long time. And I've seen so many others on the same path. And you can walk a very long journey of healing where you're always looking and striving and attached to some miraculous outcome where everything is completely better and fine, and you visualize running on top of a mountaintop and having zero pain and feeling the best you've ever felt. But I mean, number one, is that realistic? Are we setting ourselves up for more failure and defeat? Or can we have a more compassionate and simpler view of healing that also makes us feel more capable of success? So an example I'll give is at the height of my chronic fatigue syndrome and Lyme disease and chronic pain, I struggled a lot with depression and with just saying, I'm just going to stay in bed all day or sit on the couch and watch TV all day because what's the point? I'm so exhausted. And that leads to a really bad downward spiral of isolation and anxiety and depression and hopelessness and despair. And being on this journey for so long now, holistically, I integrate a lot of herbs and diet and visualization and meditation, time in nature, and challenging cognitions and visualizing success. But I'm not symptom free. I don't guarantee that I ever will be. I don't think anyone ever is. But this week I had a pretty bad pain flare up. I have chronic degenerative Lyme arthritis in my spine, and speaking that into existence isn't perseverating. It's not meant to be a trigger. It's just reality. It is what it is. I take my supplements, and I ate more sattvic foods this week, and it decreased inflammation, and I felt a little better. And I had a farmer's market this morning, and I debated going or not because with my pain flare-up, I debated what's it going to look like to set up this tent and set up my table and sit there and talk to people. But what's so beautiful about really being in a holistic, integrative healing journey is this idea of persevering with what you want to do and what gives you value and purpose, regardless of the circumstances. And what was really beautiful is the woman who runs the farmer's market reached out and was like, oh, are you coming tomorrow? And I'm like, well, I'm going to try. I'm in a pain flare. I'm a little worried. And she's like, oh, I'll help you set up. And I was like, oh, that's really sweet, that she offered that. But a few years ago, before going down this integrative holistic journey, maybe having a pain flare up like this, I would have kind of given up and stayed in bed for weeks. And no doubt my symptoms would have gotten worse, and I would have perseverated over the diagnosis and the prognosis and just kind of binge watched bad energy, low energy TV, and felt sorry for myself and felt depressed. And the difference these couple of weeks has been actively seeking out things that I know are healing. And that has led me to finding a new juice bar where they made juice for me because I didn't have the energy to make it, but I found a juice bar that makes it and makes really yummy food and acai bowls, and making new friends there. And then going on walks with intention and walking slowly on purpose to see things I might have otherwise missed. And saying, you know what, I will do my best to make some things for this farmer's market because I sell herbal teas, which is also healing of its own right, because I meet so many people who are walking down this holistic road and they're exploring herbalism, and they see my teas and we chat about healing and how it's such a spiral and a circular process and not linear. And the most beautiful thing was this morning, setting up, going to this farmer's market, and my friend who runs this market running right out to my car and lifting out my table and my tent for me and carrying it for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, you don't have to do that. And she's like, no, you told me you were in pain. I was just waiting for you to get here so I could help. And it was just so beautiful and so sweet. And, when we think about polyvagal theory and social engagement and how that is so integral to being fully in this world and to really healing and to restoring limbic system and nervous system regulation and balance, what a beautiful example of that I would not have gotten if I would have stayed at home feeling sorry for myself or sitting on my heating pad. Like, yeah, was I limping and wobbling and in pain and sweating and shaking? Like, yeah, but I went out and I had these beautiful experiences with other beautiful humans. I met a beautiful woman who explained all of these horrible injuries she had had and this, a lot of acquired brain injury stuff. We got to get into a deep conversation on TBIs and the limbic system and healing. And she is almost 70 and she rides her bike 35 miles a day. And she said, if I don't keep moving, I'll stop completely. And I was just stopped in my tracks, and I was like, what a message that the universe just was sending me today in my small way of like, if I don't get up and go to this farmer's market, I won't do anything. I'll feel bad for myself all day. Is this woman who rides her bike 35 miles every single day to prevent her pain from getting worse and her balance from getting worse, and just to keep herself feeling strong and vibrant and healthy. And she said that a lot of her life she had worked helping other people with injuries and pain, and she said, wow, that set me up to be able to cope with the hand I was dealt. And even just that visualization and that metaphor, and the fact that she was able to view her situation as something that, thank goodness I worked in this medical field for so long, this holistic field for so long, because now that I have this pain issue, I know how to heal myself and cope with it every day. And I don't know, just so many synchronicities and so many beautiful feelings and thoughts coming up this week for me. And so the only way I could really explain that was through some personal stories of my healing. And, through the work of me posting on here and through creating my course and trying to bring together a lot of other holistic minded people to share their videos and their talents and their stories, my goal is always just to normalize that we've all had pain and suffering, and that is an inherent part of life, but it's equally just as inherent as the beauty that we experience and the abundance around us and the chances we have to experience energy and joy and healing and peace and vibrance. And, I get frustrated, I guess would be a good word, when I see kind of like these get healed quick schemes, or I see doctors charging, even holistic doctors in our community has become kind of a racket, right? Like, oh yeah, just pay $5,000 up front for this fancy new machine that does this thing. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing in this world? I understand it's good to offer holistic services, but with these expectations of you will be pain-free, you will be symptom-free, is anyone ever? I mean, even when you're born, as a baby, you're crying every few hours because you're hungry, and that doesn't feel too good. Professional athletes that are running 20 miles a day, they feel pain because they have delayed onset muscle soreness. I don't know, just this idea that there is no healed, that it's always healing. It's the committed action of feeling the best we can, doing the best we can, living in alignment with our values and doing things that feel important to us and give us a sense of nourishment, community, engagement, peace, purpose. That is where I think we need to shift the attention. So I hope that resonated with some people today. If you're interested in looking at my course, you can definitely click on the link below. If there's financial hardship, reach out to me, email me. I'm always willing to work with people. I don't want finances to ever be a burden to getting help and to feeling supported too. So I don't know, I just wanted to share a little bit more personally today, and I hope that resonates. So I hope you have an awesome weekend. Do something that feels nourishing to your soul. Do something that gives you a sense of community and engagement and love. And I'll talk to you all soon.